Good morning, students. In last video we have studied about the tectonic plate movements. Today we will study about how these landforms formed. All the landforms we see on the earth are the part of the oldest landmass that was present on the earth. It was known as Gondwana land. It is called Gondwana land. The Gondwana land includes India, Australia, South Africa, South America and Antarctica as one single landmass. It means most part of the world was the part of that Gondwana land, and it was a single landmass on the earth. The conventional currents splits the crust into a number of pieces. The conventional currents which flow in the landmass through the tectonic plate movements, they split the crust into number of pieces, thus leading to the drifting of the Indo-Australian plate after being separated from the Gondwana land towards north. So this landmass of Gondwana land, it break down in many pieces, just like one part that was break down, it was Indo-Australian plate, which was broke down and moved towards north from the Gondwana land. The northward drift resulted in the collision of the plate with the much larger Eurasian plate, and this Indo-Australian plate, it moved towards the north and it collided with Eurasian plate. Due to this collision, the sedimentary rocks which were accumulated in the geocycline known as the Tethys were folded to form the mountain system of Western Asia and Himalayas. And because of this collision, these plates came near and joined each other. The mountains of Western Asia and the Himalayas emerged on the earth. The Himalayan uplift out of Tethys Sea and subsidence from northern flank of the peninsular plateau resulted in the formation of a large basin. In due course of time, this depression gradually got filled with the deposition of sediments by the rivers flowing from the mountains to the north and peninsular plateau in the south. The Himalayan uplift out of Tethys Sea and subsidence of the northern flank of the peninsular plateau resulted in the formation of large basin. Himalaya uplift, due to the uplift of Himalaya, a large basin formed in the northern flank of this peninsular plateau. In due course of time, with the time, this depression gradually got filled with the deposition of sediments by the rivers, और धीरे धीरे वहां पे रिवर्स की वजह से सेडिमेंट्स का डिपोजिशन होना स्टार्ट हो गया by the rivers flowing from the mountains in the north and the peninsular plateau. The rivers which were coming from the the rivers which were coming from north, from Himalayas to the north and the south of in the south to the peninsular plateau. A flatland of extensive alluvial deposit led to the formation of the northern plains of India. Or due to these alluvial deposits which were coming from Himalaya to the plain area, a formation of northern plain of India was there. The land of India displays a great physical variations. Geologically, the peninsular plateau constitute one of the ancient landmasses on the earth surface. It was supposed to be one of the most stable land blocks. So this is how we have a lot of land varieties of the geographical division in India. If we divide the India into different geographical parts, what we see that India can be divided into 6 different landforms. These are the Himalayan mountain. We are starting from the northern side. On the northmost boundary, we have Himalayan mountains. When we come downward, we have the northern plains. Then we come more downward, there is a peninsular plateau. In the western side, there is Indian desert. On the eastern side, we have the coastal plains, and in the sea we have the islands. So we'll study all these in detail. We'll start with the Himalayan mountains. Himalayas are geologically young and structurally fold mountain stretched over northern border of India. If we talk about the Himalayas, these are the young mountains of the world. These are the newest, one of the newest mountain in the world. And if we talk about structurally, these are the fold mountains because these are emerged because of the folding activity of the plates. These mountains ranges run in west-east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra. These mountains are starting from river Indus to the river Brahmaputra, from west to east. The Himalayas represent the loftiest and one of the most rough mountain barriers of the world. These are one of the loftiest, it means the highest mountain in the world, as well as the rough mountain barriers of the world. They form an arc which covers a distance of about 2,400 kilometers. These mountains forms a arc which is starting from river Brahmaputra or river Indus and ending at river Brahmaputra. That is about 2,400 kilometers. If we talk about the width, Himalayas are 400 kilometers. Its width is 400 kilometers in Kashmir and 150 kilometers in Arunachal Pradesh. If we talk about the altitude, it varies from one area to another area. In eastern area, these are very high. In western area, these are very not that much high. These are a bit low. The Himalayas consist of 3 parallel ranges of its longitudinal extent. A number of valleys lie between these ranges. There are basically 3 ranges in Himalayas, and there are many valleys which lie between these 3 ranges. The northernmost range is known as the Great or Inner Himalayas or the Himadri. The first and the northmost range is called the Inner Himalaya, the Great Himalaya or the Himadri. It is the most continuous range consisting of the loftiest peak which an average height of 6,000 meters. In the Himadri, most of the peaks are very high and these are averaging 6,000 meter. It contains all the prominent Himalayan peak or all the main Himalayan peaks are there in the Himadri. All the major peaks which we know, they are there in the Himadri. The folds of Great Himalayas are asymmetrical in nature. The folds which are there, they are not in the symmetry. The core of this part of Himalaya is composed of granite. It is perennially snowbound. These are always snow covered, and a number of glaciers descends from this range, and there are many glaciers as well. If you talk about the mountains peak of this area Himadri in Himalaya, we can see that the most of the important peaks are there in this area. The Mount Everest, which is in Nepal, 8,148 meter, world's highest peak. Then Kanchenjunga in India, 8,598. Then Makalu in Nepal, Dholagiri, Nanga Parbat, Annapuma, Nanda Devi in India, the Kamet in India, Namcha Bauda in India, 7,156, and Gudla Mandhata. All these are the peaks, highest peaks of Himalayas, which are there in the Himadri region. So by this we can say that the most highest peaks are there in Himadri region. And this is why, because there are lot of glaciers in Himadri region. The range lying to the south of the Himadri term forms the most rugged mountain system and is known as Himachal or Lesser Himalayas. If we come to south of Himadri, we get the second layer, that is, or the second range, that is called the Himachal or Lesser Himalaya. The ranges are mainly composed of highly compressed and altered rocks. The altitude varies between 3,700 and 4,500 meters. The average width is 50 km. In this area, the average height of the peaks is about 400 meters. This is from 3,700 to 4,500 meter, and the width was about 50 km. While the Pir Panjal range forms the longest and the most important range in the Dholadhar and the Mahabharat ranges are also prominent ones. In this region, the Pir Panjal is the most important range. This is the longest range of Himachal region. Then we have the Dholadhar and the Mahabharat ranges. This range consists of the famous valley of Kashmir. Kashmir also lies in this Himachal region. Then the Kangra, the Kullu Valley in Himachal Pradesh. This region is well known for the hill station. So this is about the Himadri region and the Himachal region. This is all for today. In next time when we meet, we will study about the Shivalik region and the other landforms of India. Thank you.